and hello, and welcome to the Uptown Tonight Podcast, where we do believe a rising tide does raise all ships, and we are here trying to raise that tide, at least the FM area, by showing off the FM area not educators, well, them too, but, entertainers and all that other fun stuff. I am your host, Mr. Wayne Stallenfacher, or Discount Tom Cruise. Some people call me Steve Wozniak. I don't understand that one, but all right. But I know I'm the boring one, but today we have the one, the only. Mick Klein is in the house tonight. Oh, he's in studio. This is going to be a really good conversation because I've known this guy for many, many years, and I don't know basically anything about him. And then I did a few little dives into his stuff on the interwebs here this afternoon. But other than that, I try not to look into people just so I get to know them along with the rest of the audience out there and everything else. But before we get to Mick, I got to talk about my weekend because I'm boring. And, that's just what we do around here. Oh, that's right. We have Cito there hanging out with old Junior with our Uptown merch. We will be at the Windbreak next week. Along with their Uptown merch, so stop by, say hi to Junior, say hi to Cito, and let's pick up some Uptown merch, keep us on the road. And then all Zebers, he doesn't look like that anymore, or that couch, but he does say support our troops. And yes, I am a little biased since my son is in South Korea, and you should support your troops anyways. And I think that's what we should be doing out there at least. And then last weekend, we were at my favorite bar out in Jamestown, the Corner Bar. Pulls no punches. It's on the corner, but that place always gets hopping by the end of the night. Oh, I friggin' love it out there. The stage is a little strange because they have a DJ set up right in the front of it and everything else, but I don't know. I just call it more stage. Let the guitar players move around a little bit more. But we were at the Corner Bar, and that was my weekend at least. So nice and boring. But let's get to Mick. How you doing, Mick?
Doing all right, man. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being on.
I had no idea the Corner Bar was still there.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I went to college in Jamestown.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
You're a Jimmy then, huh?
Well. I'm a Jimmy.
Oh, my gosh. What'd you go for?
A long time.
So we'll get to that later anyways. We'll keep the eyeballs moving around a little bit. No, so thanks for being on and everything. Yeah, it's been we've been in negotiations for a while getting this thing together.
This figured out.
Oh, yeah, we finally got you going and everything else. So, we need to learn a little bit about you. Like, obviously, you went to college in Jamestown.
Yep.
But did you grow up in Jamestown? Where'd
I
you grow up?
not. That's actually, I was born right here in Fargo.
Okay.
Before I turned 1 year old, went to my parents' hometown of Zeeland, North Dakota.
Zeeland. Oh, I've seen the sign. I can really tell you.
How? You have to be like 3 miles away to see a sign.
Yeah.
Like down by Ashley, Wishick, like German Russian.
I've been everywhere out in North Dakota.
But then luckily I moved away before I got the accent, right after third grade.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
really?
Don't you know?
Oh,
yeah.
man.
No, I just, I do what I can. Stick to my guns,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We got the Davenport.
Then, back to Fargo in 1984. I just gave away my age. That's fine. All the way through school, high school, Fargo South, where I was very active in music there.
They had a great music program for a long time.
They did.
They still do. What am I saying? Race is over.
In fact, I did everything musically involved except for girls' choir. That was the only thing I wasn't in. Orchestra, jazz, concert band, choir, show choir. Musical theater. It was fun.
Oh, I bet. I never got into the theater thing or the choir thing because I was a drummer. Yeah, that's not what you did.
I was a drummer.
And you were a percussion as well? Oh, my gosh. We were learning some stuff
all the way through college. And I set them down in 98, and I haven't picked up sticks since.
Yeah, you're a smart man. Extremely smart. Oh, you see my basement. It's just folded, and half of it's drum junk. You can only play on something at one time.
At all. They can't sing or hum a lick. My dad can sing higher than my mom.
That's nice.
But Grandpa, he played in oompa bands. He could play pretty much any instrument. I never saw him play a string instrument, but accordion, tuba, trumpet, clarinet, you name it. Like, he did it. And I got to see him play in his oompa band one time and watch my mom and a gentleman from here in town, Mr. Keith Schweiger, just cut a rug, just poking across the floor at this hall in Zeeland. For this big reunion thing that happened, or Jubilee or something of some point. And yeah, it was just really cool to see Grandpa And like somewhere packed away, I still have his original like marching band hat and all that stuff. And then
that's
so
sweet.
he was like totally into it, but it's not like he ever sat me down and said, "Hey, this is how you do a polka." I'm like, no, I just started singing in first grade in Zealand.
Okay.
And then come to Fargo, and I'm in the choirs, 5th grade. Oh, pick an instrument. No, drums it is, and just kept on going through just whatever music group I get into. It spoke to me on some level. It was just fun. And then, God, it was elementary school, and all of a sudden you got into that one choir that you had to, audition for.
The audition. Oh man.
Wow. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, my parents are like, well, you're really good at this. I could hear you above everyone. I'm like, that's not the point of a choir. You don't want to. I know you're trying to compliment me here, Dad, but that's not a point of a choir. We're supposed to blend. And then the show choir thing, and that helped. With my lack of fear of getting in front of people, for sure. I'm wearing like a tuxedo and doing jazz hands and stuff like that. We're dancing up there. It was fun though, but we got to travel around doing a lot of national competitions and things like that. So.
Seriously, this was in
Fargo South, man.
Fargo South.
It was called Pizzazz. Our director, Michael Radnicki, he just retired a few years back.
I am not familiar at all.
It was a thing. Like we did like corporate events and things like that. They would hire us, and that's how we paid for these trips every year to go down to like say Fullerton and do a show choir competition. I got to be on the original Grand Ole Opry stage because of this choir, because we were doing a competition in Nashville.
Wow.
And that was just like, I didn't understand it at the time.
Yeah.
I think about it, I'm just like, holy crap, like that was great.
My little lady was in show choir out in Bemidji. They still have that going on big and
Good,
strong
they
out there as they go down to the cities and compete all the time. And we always talk about like, how come they don't have that here? And I'm just like, how come they don't have drumline around here? But now that's getting a lot bigger.
Right.
We still don't have real competitions yet, but I'm sure that's to come.
Nah, dude, that's awesome. Like drumline, like that's like one of the reasons why I wish I would have stayed in percussion, just to do stuff like that.
That's what kept me in percussion was drumline. Everything else is like, oh my god.
I won't be any drumline anytime soon. I still like to sit down with sticks at work and just play through some rudiments and stuff like that. But don't put me behind a kid. I'm horrible now.
That's what we got to get back to. Is like, did you have any piano experience or anything else before that?
You ever heard of this keyboard thing called a fun machine? You remember that? It was like an organ thing, and it had a split keyboard. I think I do, actually. So Mom and Dad had one of those at our house, and it was in the basement down in the office, and we would just sit and tinker with it. And then, junior high sometime, my neighbors were having a rummage sale. Actually, my mom was doing it with our neighbors, and they had a keyboard, and I was able to get this keyboard. It was just, nothing like fancy, no weighted keys, but it was a keyboard.
Yeah.
And this is when I was starting to play like jazz and stuff like that. And we had theory day every Friday. So I'm starting to learn music theory even as a drummer. So we sat behind.
This is high school.
Yeah. We're sitting behind like, the marimbas even. We're improvising and we're doing all this fun stuff. And like the theory thing just kind of it totally struck a chord with me even as a percussionist. Like all of a sudden I'm understanding the keyboard and I'm understanding like you look at it and you see it differently.
Yeah.
And then I had to take one semester of piano lessons, and I was in college. It was required for my major. So,
only one.
But yeah, just to finish up the whole like the high school part of it, like Mr. Radnicki was a great choir director. Ed Hutland was my band director.
That's the name. Great. I was trying to think of Hutland.
Yep.
Yes.
And then Mr. Hoagland, the orchestra director, he was just great. They were all great, but he was just like a different kind of level. Like he ended up Concordia being the director over there.
Ah, yes.
And I got to do some really cool pieces, but I was percussion, with the symphony orchestra, so I wasn't like playing any strings or anything like that. But like, this one that always sticks with me is like Schubert's Unfinished Number 9.
Yes.
I'll put that in and I'll fall asleep to it. And if you've never heard it before, look it up. It's really cool.
It is.
So,
that's a good one. When I was in high school, we went to, I think I went on, besides pep band trips down to the cities, that was our big thing. It was, I think I went on one actual band tour down to Florida. But that was about it. But we got to find out how you got into percussion in the first place, because now me being an educator and all, that is a coveted position that everybody wants to get into. So you got to be fairly selective on who gets back there. So you don't just get that one that A, doesn't practice, or B, just
Right.
likes to make noise.
Yeah, I used to go back and forth from home and school with my bell kit and the practice pad all the time.
Oh, wow.
So
You were serious into this.
That was literally 5th grade. My elementary school was Nativity.
Okay.
You know, because that's where we started me up in 4th grade when we moved back to town. And 5th grade, you get to pick an instrument. And there was 3 of us that wanted to play drums, and that's how it started.
Oh, really? You just got to pick and get in?
Pretty much.
And I wanted to play saxophone, and then they made me play percussion. And I was like, I don't want to do this.
I'm not going to drop names, but, you know, back
Okay.
in high school, you know, we were just having fun with it. We're in a bunch. There was a lot of friends of us at Fargo South that we played in the bands and all that. And there was one girl, and she was section leader. You know why? Because she knew her scales.
Yep.
Knew her scales. So when it came to challenging time, she'd kick your butt. But then like I said, I was doing that theory training.
Yeah.
You know, every theory Friday, let's go. And all of a sudden I knew all my scales, and then I challenged her one more time, and I beat her. And she was not happy.
Yes.
She's not happy at all.
The days of challenging, yeah.
Yep.
We didn't even get that. I was just told that girls mature faster, so they got the higher positions. I was like, oh.
We didn't have to go up the ladder.
They're right. I'm not going to say it was wrong.
You could be last place and challenge first.
Oh, wow.
And then you would totally swap. And then she would have to work her way back up the ladder, but she tried to challenge her back a couple times. It just
like
didn't
in the
happen.
movie Drumline.
Well, kind of, yeah. But not as cool.
Yeah.
Weren't really ladies
You didn't get to
involved
play
then.
in front of everybody? Do your little dance?
Exactly.
That was my old drumline instructor who passed away just a few months ago. He was talking about when he was in drum corps back in the 60s, that's how they got their positions. They sat there and they actually, you could, you know, basically try for someone's position, knock them out and all that, because they only had a certain amount of people that can do it. And I never saw it, so I never really believed it until I saw that movie. And then I was like, okay, well, there's something here. And now,
well, I always
it was
thought
there.
I like that system to be able to challenge way ahead of you, because it really made it really competitive.
Yeah.
And you weren't just slowly, and it wasn't like, you know, watching Street Outlaws and you have to beat that next person and the next person and the next person to just keep on moving up. No, you could challenge a number 1 if you wanted to. And so that was interesting.
See,
and
I
then I
like
ended
that.
up staying number 1 all the way through college.
I like that because I know the
Principal-
competition is what gets you going. So
Yeah.
it keeps you going and gets you better.
You know what happens when you're number 1? You play timpani all the time.
That's the instrument. I just
Especially
don't
if you
play.
had a sense of pitch, you know,
Yep.
so you could tune on the fly. And so now we're talking about stuff that only you and I are entertained by. So maybe we should move on from timpani.
Oh, come on. I want to nerd out in this stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. So you went all through high school there, and then how'd you end up going to Jamestown? What's the deal with that?
Now,
Of all places.
a couple friends of mine that were a couple years ahead of me, they went there.
Okay.
And then I learned about the director that was there, Dr. Richard Harrison Smith.
Okay.
And he comes from quite the lineage when it comes down to it. So his original choir director was in the original St. Olaf Choir.
Oh, interesting.
So very similar to the lineage of the choir directors and the program at Concordia. And he was an upper caliber like that. We didn't have Concordia type money at Jamestown. Not saying that Jamestown probably doesn't have that now. They do. But no, he just, I went, auditioned, and I ended up getting a half ride to go sing at Jamestown College.
Interesting. So you're there as a choir person.
Yeah. Actually,
wow.
choir, that's what I went there for, was to sing.
See, I never would have guessed that either, much less the percussion part.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. No, singing was the thing. That was what I was always, pretty good at. I'll always say I was a decent drummer, decent guitar player, decent bass player. But singing, that's what I did, and that's what I did well.
Nice.
And I knew that that's where my bread was buttered, so take advantage of it. Section leader of the tenor 1 section in college, and
Whoa. Okay.
and the traveling part of it was the cool part. I got to tour Europe twice.
What?
With that choir.
I've been to Canada twice.
My freshman year and then my second senior year. So yeah, I did a 5-year program there. And Notre Dame is allowed 1 American choir a year. In the span of 5 years, I got to sing there twice.
Whoa.
And
okay.
it was like singing
This
in the
is cool.
biggest mall you've ever been in, because you can't get everybody's attention in a room that big. It's enormous. But the people that are close to you will come and listen. But we had to play or sing everything at like a half or less tempo as it normally is because of the reverb in that room.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
You'd hold a note and cut it, and it would just ring on and on.
That'd be so cool.
And you have to wait for it to dissipate, and then our Dr. Smith would, move us through the rest of the song, and it was an experience for sure.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
That would be. Oh, so that's cool. So what were you when you were in Jamestown? What were you going for? What was the major?
Fine arts with a music concentration.
Oh, really?
Yep, and then some computer science for a minor. And it gets weirder than that.
Computeries.
I can promise you that.
Straight out of the 80s, right in front of you.
That belongs in a museum, dude.
Oh, it still works.
Well, it's an Apple. Of course it still works.
Oh, yeah.
So the same guys that talked me into coming and checking out Jamestown my freshman year, early on, like first week we're there, like, hey, man, come here. Come check this.
I did see was legit. I wasn't quite sure what to make of that one.
Yep. So no joke. I found it really fun, physically challenging.
Okay.
And literally, male cheerleaders are usually athletes that have injuries, but you work through them, and I did that. It was a blast, dude. And it was like, we weren't sanctioned technically by the school, so like we couldn't get in trouble for anything. We were traveling, so if we had fun in the hotel, and when I mean fun, I mean had drinks.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, keep it cool.
TVG,
and like,
yes.
we just never got, no. And it was fun. It was a whole new experience. So back to that whole, no fear of getting in front of people.
Yeah, I suppose that show choir stuff really would have come in.
Yeah, then try being in like basically spandex shorts and running around and you're doing roundoffs and stuff in front of a stadium full of people. That's even a little weirder than show choir. I'll tell you that right now.
Could you actually do that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I was the best shape I've ever been in my life.
Oh,
man.
I would think. 2
workouts a day, plyometrics, all that stuff. Like we were fit.
Oh wow. I don't know. I just think how old I am now. I figure.
Well, remember this was early college.
Yeah, true.
Kind of in your prime at that point.
True.
Or at least I was. So. Then did that for 2 years, and then ended up becoming a coach after that, just because that's when I started getting busy with working bands. So I just couldn't commit to being at games every weekend and whatnot. So I'd go and kind of be like the safety stunting coach during the week when they needed some help.
Gotcha.
But
so there's another layer.
So here's the
right
tie-in
there.
from cheerleading to playing in an actual. And he was playing in this band, and he would check out my guitars at the party, and I'm like, dude, you should come check out our practice sometime. And he'd been telling me that all year. And finally, at the very end of the year, I went and checked it out. And the band is there. The lead singer's not.
Oh.
And I've met this dude before. I know him. And he knows the story. Like, this guy and I are still friends, but he was late, and then Jeff goes, well, hey, Mick sings. And so Ziggy, I don't know if you remember Ziggy.
I know the name.
Yeah.
I do.
So he's like, dude, get up and sing. So let's see. I vividly remember our band. I'm like, all right, we're about, me and my roommate at the time, we're about, halfway through a freaking Coors Light party ball at this point. I'm just like, yeah, man, why not?
Whatever happened to the party balls?
I don't know. Those were genius.
Yes, they were.
And yeah, that's how I started playing with the band, The Slam, which formerly was Nicky and The Slam up until the point where I joined, and we just shortened it up to The Slam.
Okay.
And Nicky and Slam has like way old lineage too. A lot of great people played with that band leading up before I even got a part of it. Jeff, he was one of the original guitar players, though. So that band went on forever, even after I left them. And I think that was done like 98 or 99 is when they were actually done.
Oh, wow.
So,
about it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool. So you were playing guitar in college then, or
I picked up acoustic like towards the end of junior high because like all my friends,
we skipped over an entire.
Like my brother was 2 classes ahead of me, but his buddies, they all play guitar, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
I grab his ovation and I do that power chord thing on E to bloom 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 bloom. I'm like, oh, wow, that sounds like a country song or something.
Yes.
Yeah, I just started diving into it, just trying to see how the guitar reacts to me. We didn't have that luxury of the internet to learn how to play guitar.
No kidding. I still to this day have no idea how we got to where we were without YouTube. Well, that thing's just
conviction, dude.
Maybe.
Same way that building Notre Dame was built. Conviction. You're starting something. You don't know how it's going to end. You just
keep going.
Just do it. Yeah, exactly. And then, gravitated to some of my friends' favorite bands. So for strumming along with songs and singing, like REM was like one of the first ones.
Of course.
Like I could probably play The One I Love left-handed if I want to. It's just, you learn that song. I'll throw that song on my show every now and then. But yeah, it was just, then all of a sudden I realized, oh, this is how you read tablature. So getting the guitar magazines, I taught myself how to play more than words, and I couldn't hardly play anything else.
Oh, wow. That was one of
Do you
my
know why you
favorite
learned that
tunes
song? Because the girls loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I bought the tablature book for Pearl Jam 10.
Perfect. Yes.
And I can say that book right there, for the most part, really launched me into playing guitar. And now I've said this for a long time, and I'll always say this: I'm probably one of the best rhythm guitar players in town because I will not try to play a solo over somebody else. I'll just stay in my lane, man.
Smart enough on that part.
Yep.
Yes.
Just keep singing pretty. That's what you do. So, and then that just kept on going. So then I started the band with Brian Johnson, and I got together. We talked, and Brian is with the famed DJ and the Atomics now.
Yes.
And he and I decided to start.
I got to get him on the podcast.
Sucker Punch.
I really do.
So Sucker Punch was our idea.
I remember that name.
And then we ended up, I don't know how, but we convinced Marty Helgrimson from the Matahari fame to play with us, and also Chris Lowe. He played in Ripcord and like just all these amazing bands. He was the bass player.
That's taking me back.
Yep. And that was one of the most talented 4 pieces I've ever played with. And I didn't at first realize how just lucky I was to play with these guys, but it didn't take me long to figure it out. I'm just like, holy crap. Like these guys are just a caliber like way ahead of me, and they forced me to get better.
Nice. So, that competition thing again comes into play.
Yep. And then,
so what was the name of that band again?
That was Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
And then, Chris finished college, moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
Got married, had kids. So we all of a sudden, in 99, we become a 3-piece, or we're trying to find a bass player.
Okay.
So our friends like Mr. Carl Kreitz would fill in while we're trying to find people to audition, and just like these. And all of a sudden, one night we're playing at Rick's, and we don't have somebody to play bass. And like, all right, I'm the rhythm guitar player. I guess I have to figure out how to play bass. And you play at Rick's. And you know what happens when you play at Rick's? You don't remember playing at Rick's. At the end of the night,
stories of Rick's.
Yeah. At the end of the night, Brian and Marty are talking. He's like, you know what? He didn't do that bad of a job. I walk up to the table with a drinking shot in my hand, probably. I'm like, Mick, you did pretty good. Yeah. You're going to be the new bass player. I'm like, cool. I wake up the next morning. I'm like, I got to buy all new gear.
At least you remembered. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember.
I would have woke up saying, what did I just say?
Then, next day I'm over at Marguerite's, and Troy sells me my first bass amp.
Oh, there we go.
And then almost every single bass that I own, I purchased from Chris Lowe or Chris's widow, to be honest. So, like, I think maybe there's like 1 or 2 that I didn't get that didn't belong to Chris at some point. And the guy only bought nice stuff, to be honest. And so I have like just really, American jazz bass and F bass, just, a Spectre Kramer from 96 or 2006. And also any bass nerds. Play it indoors because it's too loud, but it was just tone all day long, and I still have it. I'm just not going to tell anybody where it's located.
I gotcha, which is very smart.
Yep.
Wow.
Sucker Punch, Brian ended up moving to Idaho. We're trying to get, trying to audition drummers at this point, and like some really talented guys actually came and auditioned.
Damn drummers.
And then like Johnny Holland, also from the Matahari fame with Marty, like he filled in for us one weekend on the road, and he's like, you know what, well, I'll take it. I'm like, what? Like, you actually want to play? So he came out of retirement. He was the original Matahari drummer before Patio.
Okay.
And he had just not played for a long time. He's like, yeah. So we decided at that point that we wanted to just go into the studio. And we're like, all right, what are we going to do? All right, are we going to like try to do something that is friendly for radio, or are we going to sell 3 copies? Well, let's sell 3 copies. So we totally did a studio album. It's very prog influenced. So if you like bands like Rush, Yes, Journey, Spock's Beard, things like that, that's totally what this album is.
Spock's Beard. I haven't heard that name.
It's one of my favorite bands, man. Check it out.
I wrote a whole drumline show to Spock's Beard one year.
Nice.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But as we went into the studio, we found out there's another Sucker Punch down in California that's already been in the studio. So like, well, got to change our name. We couldn't think of anything. I voted for Angry Johnny because like Johnny was just not an angry person at all. I like that name. He refused, and then Marty said we're called Three-Legged Monster.
Hey, that's where that came from. Yep. Okay.
So
I love this podcast. I get to learn about all this stuff.
Yeah. So in the studio, that's where the album Airwave came from.
Okay.
So it's available on iTunes and Amazon still. CD Baby, I'm sure. And it's just a studio prog album. Like 2 of the tracks are over 18 minutes long, if that tells you anything. So the shortest one was the ballad that we wrote towards for Ziggy, because we lost him in a car accident years ago, and he had just had a beautiful child just a couple months before that, and it was based off of a conversation that Marty had with Ziggy. And I hope his daughter Dre listens to this. In fact, I'm gonna. So then Ziggy got it, and that's what that whole song is about. It's called Home, and that's the shortest track on the album at like 5 minutes or something like that. So, but yeah, this all in all, that album was a great experience, and we never really gigged after that came out, even. But Three-Legged Monster, and we'll get together, every couple of years or so like that. We'll like, hey, let's go play before these guys at Rick's or whatever. Like, okay. And we'd find an old set list in Marty's case all crumpled up, and we'd show up. We don't practice. We give each other a hug and grab a beer and a shot, and we just start playing. And we're playing like Seven Dust and Pearl Jam and Rush, and like without rehearsal. I'm just like, it was crazy, man. But these guys are stupid talented. And again, they just kept on pushing me, like, just to be better all the time. But yeah, we plan on doing this again soon. I've been in talks with how we're going to pull that off.
I got to get to that, though.
Working on getting that done because it's too fun to not do it.
That's just incredible. You're still not broken up, and you just get together and like play.
Mm-hmm.
That, man.
Well, it's the same thing.
I'm a fan of that.
Same thing with my other band. Like, we never broken up. We just haven't played since, pre-COVID.
COVID.
So, and that's a band that I joined up in 2006 after some weird work stuff, and I ended up back in Fargo, and that's Double Forte.
Oh, yeah.
So with Dennis Afseth and Jesse Schmidt. Still 2 of my best friends.
Seen you guys.
And yeah, they're just a fun band. It's a totally...
I think Jim Jolsrud was drumming at the time.
No, that was Jesse when I was playing with him. But yeah,
okay.
There's many versions of Double Forte and Twice as Hard, because that's what Double Forte means. And so like you
gotcha.
You got Darren that'll sit on drums. You got Jim. I've jammed with Jolsrud before. In fact, one time we're playing, and he's like, "Dude, that bass you're playing right there, the one you bought from Chris, the reason you have that pick guard on here because it matches these drums from when Chris and I played together."
Oh,
and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "No crap, man!" I was like, "Okay."
It's amazing, the history and all that.
Yeah, so that was fun to learn. And then yeah, like Double Forte, like those guys again are still friends. We try to figure it out, and it's tough now because of my current gig. And I'm not even talking about the job. I'm talking about the acoustic shows that I've been doing for years now.
Yeah, no kidding. You seem to be really busy with that.
It's a totally different world. You're not somebody calls you to book shows, you don't have to call for other people and say, hey, you available this night? And you're playing phone tag for a day and a half. Like, you can sit there with your calendar and book show after book show after book show and just keep doing it. And like, you get to keep yourself accountable, but you have to keep yourself accountable.
Cool. So I'm going to stop you on that one because I want to hear the whole story of how you got into doing the acoustic thing in the first place and not the lazy version of, well, you know, I was by myself one night and then I just went and played acoustic. Nah, there's more to it than that. So I'm going to get to the weekly report here. So, Cino in Mission Man. All right, where are we starting now? We're Uptown tonight. We're at the Windbreak with Tyler Hammond on Thursday, ladies' night, and Saturday. Skipping over Friday for some shitty cover bands going to hit the stage there on Friday, along with Old Butter and everyone else. Then we had the Shooting Star Casino, Dan Brecky in the Mustang Lounge on Friday and Saturday at Southtown Poorhouse up at Grand Forks. We got Tyler Hammond out there on Friday, and 8th Hour on Saturday the 30th. At the Fargo Theater, we have Jay Ernst and Kat Perkins doing a Folsom Prison Experience, so a little Johnny Cash for you out there. And then at the Shields Arena, Megadeth and Biohazard on Friday night. I'm just like, oh, because I was just thinking about Megadeth and then, well, it's here in a couple of days. I wasn't expecting that.
Take some mortal man.
Oh, let's not talk. I got a story on that. So. It's terrible. We're at Downtown Acoustic Corner. We have Wednesday tonight at Rick Adams be at Murphy's Pub, probably happening in the next few minutes and all that. It's only a few blocks from here. And Jens D. Anderson will be at the Moorhead American Legion. I got to sit there and get myself to actually see. On Thursday, September 28th, we got Kyle Kobe at the Spicy Pie, Smith and Levin, Six String Circus at Silver Spike, and then Rick Fielder at the Midtown Tavern. On Friday, we have Rick Adams again at Elks Club and Mike Morris at Tailgaters. And not much is happening on Saturday. That's okay. We're downtown with the Front Street Tap Room. The Blue Eggs hitting the stage on Friday the 29th. Then open mic with Travis Diablos next Monday the 2nd. And then Cellar, open mic night with Mark Wade Belcher happening tonight. So if you're looking to tighten up that stand-up 2 minutes, that's the place to be. Then we have Mike Lester and Casey Fleisch. That was last week. I'm sorry, that's even on there. Then the Side Street, we have Jazz Night next Monday the 2nd. Then Cowboy Jacks with Jay Stevenson out there on Saturday or Sunday the 1st. Then Specs, Twice as Hard. We were just talking about them. It's going to be hitting the stage out there on Friday and Saturday. So that's Double Forte? Is it Double Forte Light, or how's that work?
It's just a different version. It's actually one of the older versions. You got Punch, Rob Hannon.
Oh.
It's playing bass on that one.
Gotcha. Because you got the front fenders and then the Johnsons. It's basically, we call it the front fenders light, basically. So we got that. And then Murphy's Pub, 8th Hours out there on Friday the 29th. Then at Urban 42nd, Kathy Brecky and her jazz bands are going to be out there on Thursday. Trey Soul on Friday. And then the Carol King tribute. And that's again with Kathy Brecky. We going downtown still. We got Jimbo Jones happening tonight at Dempsey's, an open mic with Gina Powers. I think Gina's still out there. No one's corrected me on that yet. And Post-Traumatic Funk Syndrome on Friday 29th in the Aquarium. We have DJ along with Fatty Tesla, Daddy Longlegs, DJ All Love on tonight, actually. And then Dimension Jumpers and Howls on Saturday the 30th. And then next Sunday, Icon for Hire, The Funeral Portrait, Ashfall, and Prediction of the Witch happening on Sunday the 1st. Can you believe it's almost October? What is going on? The older you get, the faster time rolls. And Alibi Lounge, we have open mic night happening tomorrow, the 28th, at the Blarney Stone, The Funk Commission, featuring Allison Maloney on Thursday. And then at the Troll Lounge, you got Tuckered Out happening tomorrow night. And then the Bluegrass Jams happening next Tuesday, the 3rd. At the Fargo Brewing Company, we have Avatar. Man, I haven't heard about Avatar in a long time, and they're still out touring. That is really cool. Along with Orbit Culture and the Native Howl on Thursday tomorrow. And then the M&J Saloon. It's at Pirate on Cassette. I wonder who they are, but that's going to be their debut happening on Sunday or Saturday the 30th. And then we're out of town at the original Minot Northtown's on Friday and Saturday, 29th and 30th at the Laughing Sun Brewing Company in the Bismarck-Mandan area, our favorite brewing company in the Bismarck-Mandan area. We have Jonathan Foster on Thursday at 28th and Morning Live on Friday, and then the Crop Dusters hitting the stage on Saturday the 30th. Ojata, not much happening out there this weekend, but at Zorba's, the Wicked Bees, and some good old ska will be happening out there on Saturday the 30th. So that's all we got for the weekend report. So let's get back to Mick. Me, it just seemed like it blew up out of nowhere, and now it's just, there's a billion of you guys out there.
I'm going to call out real quick, Butter.
Butter. Yes, been trying to get him on the podcast.
He was
flat out refused.
He was our sound guy with the slam.
What?
And then we also had James Wren running lights for us. So,
we've had him a couple times. We pay up for that.
Yeah, you do. Like if you want a good crew, you're not going to find a better one than Jimmy and Butter at that time.
Oh man,
it was just crazy. So, but we would let Jimmy get drunk and we would hide his leg. That's a whole nother podcast about that. So yeah, the acoustic thing, like again, I learned how to play. Like it was featuring individual people, and we would learn songs, and we would basically have a showcase, almost like a talent night, pretty much. But it was just people from that choir.
Interesting.
And so you would learn tunes, you'd play accompaniment for other people, all that, and that's when Mr. Darren Jansen and I learned more than words. And like
nice,
Radnick, he like put us first in the show. I was like, you guys are gonna start it off. And I have friends that still tell me to this day, is like, I said I was going to come to that and not cry. And first song, I'm crying. I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying. And so, yeah, that was kind of funny. But just, learning all these, some popular, some not. Like I used to play like a lot of Trip Shakespeare songs. If you remember that band, Of the Cities. Love those guys. Trip Shakespeare, check them out if you haven't. They got a pretty deep catalog. Stay away from that first album. It was produced horribly. Do not listen to Applehead, man. Anyway,
I didn't know Trip Shakespeare was out of the cities, though.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then two of those guys went on to make Semisonic.
Yeah.
And then Dan Wilson just still writing like a madman. He wrote Someone Like You for Adele, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And so I tie that into my show. I actually tie that in my show. I do a Trip Shakespeare tune, then I do that Adele song that he wrote, and just kind of make it a story while I'm playing. Yeah. But I'm fast forwarding here and jumping. So did the show choir, solo night things. And then when I got to college, that first week, there was a talent night for, the hazing week, whatever you want to call it. We had to wear our beanies at Jamestown College then still. They could still do that. And like my group that I was associated with, nobody wanted to do anything for the talent. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm just going to grab my guitar and I'm going to play a song. And I played Plush.
Oh, God.
I just learned it, that summer.
Yes.
And so early 2000s. And I remember this, it's probably like, no, 2009, not early 2000s, early this century. So 2009, I decided, like, you know what, I want to get back to my roots a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Steve over at the side street let me come in there and play a show. And like, all right, so I just did an acoustic show. I tried to write down.
In 2009 then, or is this earlier?
No, it was 2009.
Okay.
So I've already been playing in bands at this point.
Yep.
But I decided, like, I want to go back to my roots. I want to play some acoustic music and just kind of reconnect
Gotcha.
myself.
All right. Now I'm trailing. Now I'm following.
Gotcha. And so I play there. Like, I write down on a piece of paper, like, every acoustic song I know. I'm just thinking I'm just going to run out of material. I'm playing songs that I might have played through once or twice before, if that. It was fun, and I just kind of started letting it grow from there. Wasn't doing a whole lot of acoustic shows, and that's when I had to do a fill-in a few years later for I played with Cassie May, Cassandra.
Okay.
And that turned into her and I playing at JT's, playing a duo quite a bit.
JT
and we just called it CMMK, and we did that for quite a bit. And then, she got, very fortunate. When I say lucky, to have some of these opportunities open up for her.
Oh, exactly.
I'm not saying she got anything by luck. She's like pure raw talent. And she ended up doing that Karaoke Battle USA show. You really should get her on the podcast. I'll talk to her. But anyway.
Yes.
So, and she got busy. She was doing like Dirty Word and stuff like that at one point. So I was doing solo again. Then all of a sudden I started playing with Mick and Rich. So Mr. Rich Berg. And so he's just like, I'm sick of playing in my kitchen. I just want to play. I'm like, all right, I'm going to put you through the RSIT program. And that means rock star in training. And there was no hazing involved. You just lack of stage experience at that point.
Yep.
He's got a lot of it now because I forced that. I remember one night we're playing at Chase on the Lake in Walker, Minnesota. And I have a way with the microphone. You got to know your audience.
Okay.
And it's about your delivery.
Yep.
Know your audience first off. And he looks at me and he's like, if I said 10% of the crap that you said, I would get my ass kicked. I'm like, yes, you would. Yeah, you got to know your audience and you got to know your delivery. I'd say I've been pretty safe for that. It hasn't been, I'm not batting 1,000. there was some
you
things
gotta
like,
learn.
you got to find out what that line is.
Exactly.
And then, he and I did that for a while. Then he just got busy. He's self-employed, and like he and I are still great friends. We've done a couple of random shows together, and then I just went back to doing the solo thing. And then it's really strong with that, staying really busy even before COVID. Still playing with Double Forte at this time, but I'm doing the acoustic shows, and the guys understand, like looking at the numbers, like this is what I have to do. I'm not gonna like give out numbers of what you're making, but playing in a one-man acoustic show is more lucrative than playing in a band.
I bet.
It just is.
Yeah. Less personnel.
And you can do the private parties. It's just easy to do it, like lake cabins, houses. I played on a pontoon before, right on DL. It's just easier. Do I miss playing with my bands, and do I need that for my sanity? Absolutely, man. Like I need to have that bass in my hand and have that cabinet just like tearing my face off at some point, because you need that in your life.
Oh yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, too much.
And then COVID happens. Well, right before that happened, that's when Mr. Jeff Murtis, he's the keeper of FargoBands.com and Acoustic Fargo. And
you see him out the windbreak all the time.
Oh, yeah. And he's my webmaster.
Gotcha.
And he does a great job. I can't give the guy enough credit. But
Shout out to Jeff. It's been
yeah.
a while.
But then I had an idea. I was like, hey, man, like, what if people could like go to my website and request songs like right from there? Because I'm kind of getting to the point where my catalog is getting pretty big. And then even if it's not a song I know, guess what? Now I have a record of what people want to hear. And even if I don't know the song, you're going to be steering me in a direction of some sort.
Yep.
And so that was going on for a little bit. Then COVID happened. So when it got to the point where we're doing online COVID shows, like that was already set up in place. And like, so people would like tune in. Maybe like over 100 people tune in some nights, and they're very generous. They're doing online tips, even if it's $1 here or $5 or whatever.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just crazy. Like, I'm trying to figure out life at this point, because going into COVID, the first people that lose their job are the musicians.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, I was doing a weekly show, and like we called each other, like Rick Adams, Michael Pink. Like we weren't going to play over top of each other. We'd promote the next person that was about to start their set, and we just worked together to get this done.
Nice.
Because that's all you could do.
Yeah.
We're all unemployed at this time, And then when I wasn't,
I wasn't even aware of any of this. So.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We were putting out schedules of who's playing online acoustic shows and when. Like, I'm reaching out to everybody like, hey, man, I just want to put a calendar out. I want to support all you guys. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And it worked. It helped.
For the best it could do.
Like, dude, even if it's just paying for groceries for the week, that's something.
Yeah.
And I was doing the whole Instacart thing, and then like, I don't know if you've ever seen Andy Peterson out doing the Instacart thing. He's like the king of it now.
No.
Oh yeah, he's good at it.
Okay.
They'll grab the biggest orders out there and do them, but that's again a whole other podcast. Just ask him about it.
They'll figure that part out. Yep.
Yeah, and then I'll never forget when I got to play my first show again back in public. It's just like, it happened to be June 19th. That's my birthday.
Oh, nice.
And I even still broadcasted it live, because people were like, "Hey, when you playing again? When you playing?" I'm like, I'm going to be at Rookies. I'm going to play a show there, and yeah, broadcasted it live. And then all of a sudden, we're back at it. And there was some really cool things that happened because of COVID. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, obviously a lot of horrible things happened. But bars realized that you don't need to have entertainment right until 10 minutes to 2.
Nope.
So you got earlier sets now, which makes so much more sense to me. It just logically, it makes sense. Let's hang on to your late dinner crowd and keep them there for another 3 hours. Because the people you have here at midnight don't need entertainment to be there buying their shot after shot after shot.
It is so true. Yes.
And so, yeah, for the most part, I would say about close to 98% of the venues have figured that out. There's still a couple where you have to travel out of town. You're playing until, after 1 o'clock.
Yep.
You still got to drive back to town. I'm just like, this would work better. Try this. Some venues have listened and they've tried it out and they agree. Some just won't even want to try. I'm just like, all right.
That's how I've always done it.
Yep. And that's just, kind of where that went. And so, leading up to that, back in 2000, that's when I started working for Best Buy.
Yeah.
And did that, managed a couple different stores. I was up in Grand Forks, back in Fargo. I was a district trainer for my position at that time. So I was traveling around doing annual inventories, blah, blah, blah. Then that music store came to Best Buy, Best Buy Musical Instruments. Well, I gladly did in theory, it's a step down, but for me, it was a lateral move. So I was basically making, same amount of money, but I was hourly again.
Gotcha.
And I'm running that musical instrument store, and I was part of the corporate council at headquarters for that, and it was great. It was cool.
And that's where I met Mr. Peter Nyblock. The whole reason why I have this JoJo Mayer disc right here.
Is that the one where he's playing on the pizza?
No, not this one. This one's just all technique and stuff, and maybe I can show it up here. But
yeah,
it's been my giveaway since Peter Nyblock's been on here, just because that was what we bonded over. I started doing lessons at that Best Buy because I got into some weird thing. I remember
not taking lessons at Best Buy. You were giving them.
I gave one. I only got one to come through, and then so we'd have to come in there every week, and you're supposed to try to get all these kids off from the electronic kits while you play on the electronic kits to get them to take a lesson. But the lessons were twice as much as the regular ones. But, I digress. That's just basically how I was going. But
that was a third-party company.
It was. And I talked to him many times.
It was weird. Yeah, it was weird.
But we were sitting there playing the JoJo Mayer, and he was just like, he couldn't believe that I could keep up with him and all that stuff. So we were talking technique and everything else. And then, became great friends with him. So I've basically been trying to give this away. And the whole thing is you just have to guess what his first drum set he ever purchased was in Ireland. And no one's got it yet.
Peter or?
Yeah, Peter Nyblock's, which it's actually one of the first drum sets I ever bought, but it's not the European version, obviously. But I was just like, oh my God.
Well, because I actually already have that DVD at home. So
do you?
Yep, I'm not going to steal it.
See, this is actually the second one because I have my personal copy, and then I found one at a thrift store. So I was like, this would be a great giveaway to do on there. And then the day of, the old Zebras, my old puppy, somehow got a hold of it, and I found half of it in the backyard. So
Oops.
Yep. So that's another copy I had to go out and buy. So the story of JoJo Mayer. No, but that's really cool about how all this is going on. So you do management, and then you had the manager over at the Guitar Center.
Right. Well, I'll finish up the best part or the Best Buy part of it anyway.
Okay.
When the board didn't see how it was going, like they thought that a Les Paul hanging on a wall for a year was losing value like a TV that hangs on a wall.
Oh.
They just didn't wrap their heads around. Oh, we got to move it. We got to slash it. I'm like, no, there's some kid that's like trying to clear up his complexion right now and saving his dollars. That's going to buy that in a couple of years. Like he wants that guitar. And when I found out it was going away, I just decided that I have done enough or everything that I wanted to do with that company. And I was good. I was playing enough shows at this time. And like, you know what? I'm just going to try to play shows for a while, or else I would have said what if the rest of my life. So 2012, May 15th. That's when I left there, and I joked. I said, I will never work retail again unless Guitar Center comes to town and I can run the store.
Oh, my God.
I said it. You can ask my friends. I said it. So, yeah, that's how that happened. So when I found out Guitar Center was coming to town, I called some of my friends that I knew worked for the company, like down in Arizona and whatnot. And I was like, hey, who do I talk to? Like, they're giving me names, and I'm talking to them. And
nice.
After a few months and construction getting pushed back and all that jazz, I was like, I finally got hired as a store manager with zero company knowledge.
But you still have the experience.
Well, I have the retail experience.
Yeah.
I've done it. But it's, totally different computer systems. And then to make it even more fun, we opened up 1 week before Black Friday.
I remember that. I was thinking that was nuts too.
If you're ever going to open a store, I do not recommend doing that. And it wasn't like that wasn't the plan. The construction got pushed back because of materials. We were supposed to open August 29th, and just didn't happen. But it had to happen before the holiday.
That was a big push.
So yeah, November 17th is when we opened, and it was crazy. I'm still the most tenured person in the building. I haven't even been there. September 1st is my first day.
Oh man.
And I literally stood there with my phone. Like if I didn't know the answer to that question, I would call my peers from around the district and just get this is how we do this, this is how we do that, and like they were there for grand opening, but come Black Friday, they were all gone. They were back at their own stores.
Oh, I betcha.
And so yeah, it was like trial by fire. In fact, my district manager a few months later goes, "I can't believe you still have everyone that you opened with." I'm like, "Yeah, I do." That's not the case anymore, but yeah, it was crazy. Like these guys stuck it out and they learned, and it was crazy amazing.
Working at a music store, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, that's what I've been doing since September. Like I'm still playing some shows, not as many.
Yep.
Just try to figure out as much as I can, and book when I can. Things are a little different now. Don't exactly have a wife anymore, so like we got split custody with the children, and so we have to work on that calendar, and like we're still kind of setting that. And
that's a whole series of podcasts we can talk about. That.
Yeah, but so it's just trying to find like that balance with that calendar. I want to do. I love being around my kids and all that.
Yes, exactly.
At the same time, like I still want to try to play as many shows as I can, so I can support a certain lifestyle to make them happy, and the things they want. I want to get them back into music lessons and all that stuff, and I'm supportive about kids being in music and athletics and all that, and so that's what I'm aiming for.
It's another cog in the wheel.
Yep. So yeah, I'm basically available like half the month, and so like I've been calling around like, hey, like who wants to fill these up? This is kind of limited release. This is what I got here. So I'm working on just filling up the rest of the year and through the winter. So if you want to book it, I got this little thing called www.mickklein.com.
And that is linked down below, by the way.
And I appreciate that, by the way.
And we'll see if we can find this CD baby stuff, too, is put on there. That'd be really cool. But, we got to get to a little juvenile destruction here. You ready for some of that?
All right.
All right. So here's this week's Off the Roof. I pulled these at random now because I haven't been able to make some. My daughter said we were going to throw a couch off the roof today, but we didn't quite get there. So I just grabbed these at random now. I have no idea what we're doing here. Ooh, she came apart. Good old ceramics. What is it? This is what happens when you give a bored drummer some GoPros and
right.
A little time to figure out the video processing.
Yeah, get creative. Get some liquid nitrogen.
Dude, this is what I want to do.
Gotta think outside the box.
Yes.
Don't throw the dog.
Oh, that was perfect aim, too. You're hired.
Nice.
So there we go. So that's Off the Roof. Now, you might need an explanation on that. Is that I grew up in this house, and then I bought it from my dad a million years ago. And, you have the raging parties, and, it just inevitably, someone would get up on the roof and start throwing random electronics off just to watch it explode on the driveway. So I'm just keeping the tradition alive. So if you're out there and you want to see something explode in my driveway, throw it in my yard, call us up, let us know, and we'll come pick it up for you and everything else. So that's the Off the Roof on there. So after all that being said, what do you got left for the good of the order here? We got to wrap this thing up.
Gotcha. So on the calendar for this weekend, the acoustic part, I actually had a last-minute addition.
Oh, did you?
Yep. I'm not sure who I'm filling in for. I just found this out yesterday. I will be playing at the headquarters in Horace on Friday.
Oh, there we go. In Horace, North Dakota.
Yeah, don't you know?
Oh, geez.
8 o'clock to 11. I've been out there a handful of times. Went and saw Zach Thomas out there. The food's amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the one that has all the taxidermy in there, right? Or is that the different one?
No, this is new. This is brand new construction right by the high school. Like there's a Dairy Queen next door. So, kind of hard to get to with that roundabout under construction.
I'm going to have to go look.
But if you turn on, your blue line on your GPS, it'll take you right there.
Okay.
So I live out in that side of Fargo, so it doesn't take me super long to get there. So, but yeah, that's
Nice.
really good food. So if you don't come to hear me, come for the food.
For at least, yes.
And the drink. So.
And when's that going to be on again?
That's Friday night.
Friday night.
8 p.m.
There we go. The 29th of September.
Yeah, and then everything else that I got going next few weeks, like private party stuff that I'm not supposed to advertise. So.
Yep, that's fair enough right there. We can also find you on Mick Klein, everything else. Yeah, how can we get a hold of you elsewise?
Yeah, Mickklein.com. Facebook, just Mick Klein. I have a personal page, but I also have a music page.
Yep.
So if you try to add me on the music one or the personal one and I can't, it's because I can't. It's starting to fill up. It's one of those things. I've had it since 2007. So,
gotcha.
Back to that online requesting that's on the website.
Yeah.
We found out it's broken.
What?
Yeah, I wasn't getting like the request coming through, and then Jeff actually figured out why. So he and I literally have to sit down for like 3 minutes and fix it. So
I would ask you how that all works, but I'm guessing you want to keep that a little bit more of a secret.
No, I'm not hiding that stuff.
Then how does it work?
It's a form, and then everything that they put in there basically goes into a subject line.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So we've been talking about that for the new band multiple times.
Yeah.
And some requesty type things, but
it works. And then, and I'm not dumb, like as soon as you request something, it will show a link to the virtual tip jars. You're not required to put a tip in to make a request.
But it does help.
Yeah.
It really does. A little motivation
it does,
there.
Not going to lie. Like, we're here to entertain and make money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest here.
So that's the whole thing. I was just quick story on my side. I used to live on the other side of the train tracks where everyone was downtown, and you didn't do cover music because that's what those guys do. That's cheating. You can do that anytime you want to. But I came across the other side of the train tracks, and I'm really enjoying this lifestyle. I'm going to stay over here for a while, so we'll get back to writing at some point.
You get that equation figured out. Like when you're playing cover music, it's literally your job to make the venue money, or you're not getting hired back.
Exactly.
So get that part figured out. Be good at what you do. If you're not good, practice. That's really what it comes down to.
And it's so much fun.
It is.
It is. Well, you can find us from the Tiki Tacs all the way down to the Instagrams and everything else, and at Uptown Tonight Podcast, or else you can find us at Uptown Band. We're in Uptown. We're a band from Fargo, uptownbandfargo.com, and you can find everything else about the band and or the podcast and all that other fun stuff. So, Mick, your band may be in trouble if your drummer has more charisma than your frontman.
True.
But that's why my band's doing just fine. So, until next time.